Guess let's talk about, what happened this week, week 2. It was a big week. So, I don't know, let's bring in Sean. Sean, you weren't here first week, I don't know
Yeah,
what's
oh,
going
yeah.
on. You going on traveling and all this and stuff, right? But
Hey, trying to get out here, trying to see a couple games. It was actually pretty great. We went to Michigan, saw a high school game. Went to the University of Michigan, saw the Wolverines play. They
Wicked,
blew out
dude.
somebody. And then unfortunately, my other team, the Washington Commanders, took the L. And every Lions fan let me know it was pretty bad at one point. They were patting me on the back like, "Oh, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay." But
Do you have that video on standby by any chance? Do you have
oh,
it?
I think I do. Oh, I
Oh,
can't.
please show the video.
Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have to see. Hold up, I know we're gonna switch it back in just a second, but I want to.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there it is. There it is. All my pain. All my pain.
I love it. I love it.
Some guy actually came by. He was like, "It's gonna be all right, man. It's gonna be all right. We deal with this every week." I was like, "All right, guys. At least we can help you get a win."
So funny, man. Oh my god. So
Oh
then
yeah.
Panthers.
Yo, absolutely. We all know Baker's here, so it's been this whole big what is he gonna do and everything. Matt Rule, hot seat, hot.
Yeah.
I mean, griddle cakes on his backside is just it's steaming hot. And look, the play on the field isn't showing. The defense has been doing solid, but when you start off,
Absolutely.
when you start off the game and on the opening kickoff, you fumble the opening kickoff and give it away to the Giants. It's just a sign of bad things to come. I got to shout them out. They couple times. They actually on the first two possessions, and the second one, Robbie Anderson fumbled, and they gave the ball up in their own area, almost near their red zone, but the defense held them 2 field goals. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And that and really it gives you confidence. Like, okay, all right, Panthers are not too far out, but on the flip side. Baker is just Baker. Like you can tell the problems that he had from before. And we kind of blamed it on maybe the injuries and everything and the turmoil in Cleveland. Well, he's coming over here and he just doesn't like some of these passes are too. They're off. He's throwing way out past some guys, overthrowing them. We know he can scramble for those first downs, and that's all great, but you're not producing. You're not scoring any points. So every time you get in the red zone, it's still just field goals if you get into the red zone at all. I mean, at halftime, we're talking about a 6-6 ball game. Finally, in the second half, they start scoring a little bit, and it's 13-13. But then it's back to this defensive battle, and it's basically Daniel Jones and Baker who can mess up the most. You know what I mean? Or who can mess up the least, and their team's gonna win it. Daniel Jones ended up getting an opportunity late in the game and got a couple first downs and milked the clock. And I mean, that was that. Matt Rule is, like I said, on the hot seat, and I think he might need to go. I've heard talks that he might even be out.
I think he's gone right away. Like right
that's what
away,
I've heard.
He's gone.
Yeah, I've heard he's out like potentially this week. Like they're talking about it, but definitely after another loss, he's out of here. But they got some things to work with that defense. But it's a tough loss. Obviously, starting 0-2. We're gonna talk about kind of where it's going in the future. But it's I with other teams that are 0-2, we can see there's hope there. I just don't think they fully are behind Baker, and then they definitely don't want Darnold. We saw the quarterbacks they had a year ago. So I just think there's a lot of things in transition, and it's a shame because that defense, you got Burns, you got J.C. Horn, you got some studs on that defense, but they're doing everything they can. But when your offense constantly puts you in bad situations and short fields, it's not helpful. It's not helpful. So they'll have a lot to work with coming up, but another L and against the daggone Giants, so it hurts me doubly, right? Because I'm a Washington fan.
But one thing to say about that too is I will touch on that. I totally agree with you with Matt Rule. Like just seeing kind of how Carolina is, I kind of almost feel a little bit bad for Baker Mayfield because if you really look at it, like it's not like he's thrown into good situations recently, right? Like he's thrown into a Cleveland Browns team, which they basically built around him. Like don't get me wrong, they had some pieces, with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, like the top pairing running backs, absolutely, right? But at the same time, like he went from one crap show to another crap show, right? Like I'd say, yeah, sure, Carolina's a lot more put together than Cleveland is, absolutely, but with that being said, like you're only as good as your coaches, right? Like if the offensive coordinator and the coaching isn't working, like how much onus and blame do you really put on Baker Mayfield?
Well, absolutely, and that's the thing. It's actually a almost identical situation. Really stout defense, a couple good running backs, maybe a receiver or two, and kind of young, inexperienced coaches that maybe have had a couple good games or a couple good years wherever they've been. You know what I mean? So it's you're absolutely right. It's kind of the same situation. So you wonder if maybe Rule was out, and then if they bring somebody else in that maybe can help the team gel, maybe it would be a little better. But it's still starting 0-2 is definitely not what the Panthers wanted to do this year, and especially with all the excitement they had. They were in both games. Both games were close, but you can't get behind in a division where you already have the Buccaneers talking about being champs, the Saints, and you guys. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I guess that kind of leaves me too, right? So. Yeah, the Falcons game was interesting. I'm gonna be honest with you, from start to finish. I'm gonna be honest. I had this chalked up as an L right off the bat, so I'm not really necessarily too surprised that the Falcons got the L. But this was a game that we were expecting to lose. I predicted 27-17 last week, and that exceeded my expectations, obviously. It's funny because at one point it was 28-3, and then I saw a score a touchdown. I'm like, is this it? Is this the curse reversed? Is this it? I'm like, no way, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. And then we'll go do a run, we'll win the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we conquered it, but we fell up short. But it's really interesting to kind of see how things have played out in the first 2 weeks. The first week, there was a lot of talk about how the Falcons showed up for the first 3 quarters, which they do often, and they didn't show up for the last quarter. Yeah. Now, the second game, it's the complete opposite, which is really weird, is they didn't really show up per se for the first 3 quarters, but that fourth quarter, my God, like they went hard. And going into the fourth quarter with a 28-10 deficit and then coming back and only losing 31-27 is a huge, huge improvement. So, Sean, do you have that picture of the standings?
Oh, I do. Oh, but let me see. Hold up. Let me see.
Yeah. No rush. It's a point that I'm trying to prove too. Like, the defense really is something else, even though it's not really showing it. The defense really is trying to like mold together, and it's unbelievable, right? The fact is the defense is the only reason why we were still in that game to begin with, right? The defense alone got 2 touchdowns. There was 2 fumbles actually is what it was. And it's unbelievable. Like I like seeing that because the Falcons have been notoriously known for just being an offensive team. So to see the defense actually starting to do something is absolutely phenomenal, right? So I gotta say, I'm not overly too upset. I hope we keep moving in the right direction and we keep on kind of piecing together. And I for the first time in a while, I can see where we're going with it. So that's the one thing I wanted to point out is look at the points for and the points against. So technically speaking, the Falcons have actually produced the most points in the NFC South. Sure, we have 58 against, which, all things considered, we did play the Saints, who are a defense-heavy team, still a really good offense, and the Rams as well. But I'm just saying, the offense is firing. It's not necessarily clicking the way we want to click it yet. So it's regardless, we're 0-2, but I see a lot of promise. And that's the thing is, as long as we keep trending in the right direction and we keep on drafting on needs versus wants, I think we're going to see a lot of improvement. The Falcons aren't going to be the bottom of the division for long. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, Nicole.
Yep.
Your game. How'd it go?
I got one word for you.
Okay.
Do you like pastry? Because I got a lot of turnovers over here.
I love it. I love
it. Great.
we got 5 turnovers. Yeah, it was a crazy game. I mean, I can never get angry at the Saints for entertaining you.
Yeah.
They bring up the entertainment all the time, and that's why I enjoy watching them. But yeah, there was 5 turnovers. I would say it was a pretty good game. I was surprised how defensively we were able to hold off Tom Brady, going all the way until basically like the third quarter. It was tied up and no touchdowns. So I was quite happy about that. And then, I mean, there was some miscommunications also too. I could see that there was once when there was 12 men on the field. I didn't know we were playing in Seattle with the 12th man.
Right.
But that's who that. I don't know who that guy on that field. So I could see there was a little bit of miscommunication going down. I could see the defense was actually getting frustrated. In fact, I could almost see that buildup of that fight coming from probably a little earlier on in the game as things weren't going right for anybody. So I don't know. That's my basic comments for the Saints for that game was turnovers, 12 men. But the defense like kept it strong. I was really scared that I was surprised actually they held off on Tom Brady. So and props to them. So yeah, finished off of a 20-10. So not so good.
Still a close game, not bad. And welcome, Mr. Fober. That's good timing. My God, well done.
Do you like turnovers?
What? I'm sorry. I've been trying to put juice in my phone and find internet somewhere. Are we talking about my undefeated 2-0 leading NFC South division? Is that who we're talking about, baby? The greatest
you got. I'm giving you a total of like maybe 3 minutes. All right, like
3 minutes. But you can ask him. All I need is 2. The Buccaneers are injured.
You last long. My God.
They're injured and depleted to the point where we had to go get a guy who has problems getting vaccinations and listening to do what he is told and thinks he's going to have a great time with Bruce Arians. There is some stuff obviously going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when it comes to injuries where we're going to have to start literally grabbing these guys off of the streets like Cole Beasley. And I understand why we have to do it because of the whole Scotty Miller thing. He just did not show up. I mean, I gave him props because of the 3 catches he got in the 35 yards. Yeah, that's awesome because we haven't seen you for a while and it's good to see you. But I mean, 2 of those catches would have been big games, like big games for the game. And he did not catch it. Now, there needs to be more on the offense. Like, we can't have 5 all-star wide receivers like we have signed and none of them be playing. And another one suspended, though appealing, and we'll probably hear about that in the next couple of hours here. Which I think he's still going to get suspended. Let's just call it what it is. But the Buccaneers, as I've said before, are a culture. I mean, the video that everybody keeps pointing at right now with the whole Godwin and Devin White thing, it's not going to divide us. It's the culture change. It's the culture switch. There is a group of guys in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who feel as though they are champions and that they are the greatest assembled team possibly of all time. And they do not want anything to come between not only their roster, but they don't want anything to come between them and signing other guys. So someone is probably going to take a pay cut here to allow more than just Cole Beasley to come in. If for some odd reason we lose, like say a Julio Jones or a Chris Godwin for a few more weeks, I could just see it happening because there's something different about this Tampa Bay squad, and I've said it before. Obviously, I'm biased, but it's there. We won it in the first year. We were almost there last year, and props to you, Nicole. You had me on the ropes for like the whole first half. I was throwing things at my TV. My dogs were scared. My kids were upstairs being like, "But it's Go Bucs time. Why is he not?"
That's so funny. You know what though? Like I was just saying this before we started the show too about the Buccaneers too, Foobs. And the one thing I will say is like I'm not sold on the offense. I'll be honest. Like I'm really not. But I will give credit where credit is due by all means. And if you guys do go all the way to the Super Bowl, it's because of defense and no other reason. I'm going to be quite honest with you. There's like it would have to be because of the defense.
1,000%. 1,000%. Now, the only other thing is, again, like the injuries. The injuries is what kind of did us in last year, and I'm not looking forward to what it is going to be like against some of these other teams. Like, if we have a depleted roster for week 5 and we go up against Atlanta and we're sitting there in the fourth quarter losing to Atlanta, that affects me personally in my personal life. Okay. Can't have this stuff. We need, and I say this in all respect. We all know the AFC is stacked, but we're starting to see some of these NFC teams come up here that we were not necessarily expecting. And I think Tampa Bay Buccaneers have also realized that, and they can't take all these injuries and lose regular season games when they may not necessarily have the division locked down. And I do mean that for the Saints. I'm not counting out the Saints at all.
Yeah.
Saints are still a great team, despite what everybody on the internet says.
No, I agree 100%. But like, so
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.